I think my first Peach Bowl experience was 72, West Virginia, North Carolina State, when Lou Holtz laid it to Bobby Bowden. And then 75, when Bobby Bowden got his revenge on Lou Holtz. And then as a player in 81 at West Virginia when we beat Florida. I can't remember who the head coach of Florida, maybe Charlie Pell. But it's a great game. Obviously, it's an honor. It's great to be here. I can't say enough great things about Oregon. Really have a lot of respect for Coach Lanning, their team, what they've put on tape, what they've gotten done in their recent history. They're good in all three phases, and they're a great football team. And people, I know I said it's hard to beat a great team twice. Well, it's hard to beat a great team, period. And there's a reason for that. So it ought to be a great game. Looking forward to getting better today. And we'll see everybody tomorrow.
All right, thank you, coaches. All right, at this time, we'll open to questions from the media. We do have mic runners on either side of the room. Please raise your hand. We'll get a mic runner over to you. We would ask that you would give your name and your affiliation before asking your question, please. Okay, let's start right here in the front row.
Jeff Rabjohns, Pigs.com. Coach, you guys are the only team in the country with 7 wins over teams that won 9 or more games and a 50-point win over a team that won 9 games. Why do you think you guys have not only been winning 14-0, but have been so dominant?
Can you repeat the last part of the question? Speak up just a little bit.
Sorry. You guys are the only team, 7 wins over teams with 9 or more wins and a 50-plus point win over a team with 9 wins.
Right. Well, a couple of those teams were G5 teams that had good years. We did have a big win against Illinois where they lost some guys in the secondary and got shorthanded as the game went on. But it is a credit to our players playing the first play, the last play the same, regardless of the competitive circumstances. But the bottom line is when you play really good people, like tomorrow, you got to win more battles, play in, play out than they win. And do the things you got to do to win football games. Make sure you don't do the things that lose football games. So it's all about preparation, having an edge, mindset, and then putting it on the field, play 1 to 150.
All right, we'll go next here in the second row on the left.
Mike Griffith, Atlanta Journal-Constitution and Dog Nation. Coach's kind of off-the-field football question about the enforceability of contracts. We're seeing a lot of issues with this rising up. I guess I wanted to get your thoughts on how important it is to get that ironed out and any thoughts or ideas you have for how college football might go forward with a working model.
All right, start with Coach Lanning, please. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great. I'll be honest, my entire focus right now is on this game. I'm sure coach is no different. But yeah, contracts, you'd love to say that they should be enforceable. And at some point, we'll see what that ends up looking like. But I think that's the secret behind a contract, right? Is it supposed to mean something?
Yeah, my focus is on our prep, and the only thing I'm going to say about all this stuff is obviously there's a lot of loose ends, and it needs to be tied up in terms of the whole recruiting process. So there's a lot of work to be done, and that's one area.
All right, we'll take our next question right behind in row 3 on the left.
David Ubben with The Athletic. For both of you guys, how have you split your time this week in preparing for this game and managing the portal? And how would you describe that experience, and how has it colored your opinion of having the portal in the window where it is now?
Could start with Coach Cignetti this time, please.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think Oregon played the night before we played Alabama, but I could be wrong. I gave the coaches off the next day. We got in 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I went in the office around 2 in the afternoon because I knew I was going to lose some time the following day, which would have been a Sunday for us. On that Sunday, we had some official visitors in, and I probably lost 6 hours of prep. And I'm highly involved in our day-to-day situational preparation, particularly on offense, besides being a leader of the program. So I lost a valuable 6 hours there, and probably 3 or 4 the next day too. So I was playing catch up most of the week, And, you know, you got to rely on your people a little bit more. It also stresses you from the evaluation standpoint and the quality of the one-on-one meeting and on the official visits, but it is what it is, and you got to make the best of it.
Yeah, certainly a juggle. We played the first, you know, similar to Coach, but we played earlier in the day than them. But traveling back from Miami is a long trip, so we got back later on that night and had some guys in. You know, you're juggling both, but I think it's really important that you're focused as much as we can. We put our focus on this game, and you try to make sure you communicate to the people that you're recruiting, hey, I wish I could pay more attention to you right now, but the reality is we're really focused on this game, and if you want to be a part of games like this, this is what you have to look forward to, and you'll want my focus to be on this game as well. So on the same note, recruiting is something that happens every single day. It happens in season. It's just a little bit more highlighted right now in this moment. So you don't, during football season, you don't not recruit. You do it all the time. It's something you always do, and it might be a late phone call. It might be a late Zoom. It might be an early phone call. It might be stepping out of a meeting to get on the phone with a player. So we try to make those adaptions and still focus on our team and give them our best foot forward.
Okay, next question. We're going to go all the way in the back to the left on the camera platform.
Question for Coach Lanning, right back here. Luke Hetrick, Channel 2 Action News here in Atlanta. You became a head coach, made the jump from coordinator to first-time head coach. Very similar to Kirby Smart, a guy you learned under. What was the biggest takeaway and preparation from him that allowed you to be prepared for this job, jumping into a first-time coaching position?
Yeah, I couldn't put into words the lessons I learned from Coach Smart. He's an unbelievable coach, an unbelievable mentor, a guy I still talk to this day. As far as, you know, I think we bounce ideas off of each other. I notice whenever he sends a text message asking me a question, I answer a lot quicker than whenever I send him a text message. That's just Kirby a little bit, but I'm picking up on that, so I'm a little more persistent. But I learned so many lessons from Coach Smart on how to run a program, being genuinely who you are. You know, I think he coaches with the same passion and energy consistently every day. He runs the entire organization really to a T. He's incredibly intelligent. So I try to take a lot of lessons from Coach Smart, and obviously he's done a lot of things right. You don't have the success he's had without doing that. And I think he's also been a guy that's always been willing to adapt. So grateful for my time with him. Certainly prepared me for moments like this, and glad I got to be a part of that here at Georgia.
Okay, next we're going to go over here in the third row on the right side.
Yeah, Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. Dan, your motivational tactics have gotten a lot of attention over time. I'm wondering how that changes, if at all, going into a game like this where you probably shouldn't need much motivation, but I'm sure it's part of your pregame routine.
Yeah, motivation's overrated. These players got to go play the game, right? I've said that consistently. On the same note, I think it's my job to make sure that these guys are ready to go and give them everything that I got in that moment. But if you can't get up for an opportunity to play Indiana, especially when they had the better half of us last time, then shame on us.
All right, next question, same, right in front, row 2 on the right.
Dusty Baker, Wave Sports. Question for Coach Cignetti. Fernando Mendoza told us that he stays away from social media, he unplugs, he just focuses on football. From your perspective, watching him over the course of this year, what impresses you most about his approach, his game plan, his prep? What does that look like from your perspective?
You know, if he does that, that's really impressive. But I do think he prepares unlike anybody I've ever been around collegiately, and at the quarterback position. He wants to be great. His idol was Tom Brady. He's a real intelligent guy, and you've heard in his interviews how impressive he is. And, you know, I think he's somebody that can channel all of his energy into one thing and has a discipline to do that and commitment to be great. And his preparation is organized and specific and detailed. Like, you can work, but you got to work smart, right? And, you know, I think he's made a lot of improvement when you look at him from the first game to where he is now. And he's played really good at the end of the games, and he's a warrior. And I really can't say enough good things about what he's done since the day we got him till today, except he's got to play damn good tomorrow.
All right, we'll go next back to Mike over here in the second row.
Mike Griffith, AJC.com. Another throwback question for you, Dan. When you left Georgia, you left a program that had 15 NFL draft picks. It was a record. I think the defense set a record for fewest points allowed in more than 20 years. 3 years later, the SEC's removed from their national titles. We've got 2 Big Ten coaches sitting up here. How has the Big Ten moved past the SEC, even mock drafts? No SEC guys in the top 10. Can you talk about that transcension we've seen to the Big Ten taking over college football?
It's a good league. It's a good league, and there's great players that want to come here. You know, certainly part of the result of the portal is created, you know, it's tough to keep great players in one place. You know, I think you've seen some transition where great players that aren't getting an opportunity look for an opportunity to go play. That's certainly taken place in our program, you know, and ultimately the portal and NIL has probably created a little bit more parity in the sport. You know, that being said, there's some really good coaches in this league. And I think people realize you can do it in more than one place. So when you have great teams like you do, academic tradition and things that exist in the Big Ten, a league that people can be a part of and still realize their dreams of NFL success and win games and compete for championships, I think that's just opened the spectrum to, there's a lot of places that you can have success, and certainly the Big Ten is one of them.
All right, we'll take our next question, front row on the right.
Brenna Green, Coin 6. First of all, Dan, it seems like all signs are leading this way, but can you just confirm that Jay Harris is available tomorrow for your team?
Yes.
And then is it frustrating for you, the fact that you warned against this exact situation with the transfer portal months ago, and now it's playing out in front of your eyes? So is it frustrating for you to have to be answering questions about the transfer portal right now on the eve of such a big game?
No.
All right, next we'll go almost all the way back on the left aisle.
Hi, Lane Higgins from the Wall Street Journal. Curt, this is for you, right here. You are someone that was an assistant for a long time before you became a head coach, and now that you're a head coach, it seems like you're a slam dunk based on you accepting the award today. And I'm just curious why you think it took so long to get the opportunity to have that role for you in your career. And like, were you turning down opportunities before you ultimately left to Alabama for IUP?
Well, you know, I got a really good break when I was young. I was 23 years old coaching the Southwest Conference back when that was one of the top conferences in the country. But it was at Rice, a program that doesn't do very well. And we played SMU before they had death penalty. That's how long ago that was. There are 3 years, and then you go to Temple. We succeeded Bruce Arians. And we had one outstanding year our second year, but we weren't very good years 1, 3, and 4. And so I'm still an assistant coach. Now, that's great. I'm young, and I'm making okay money. But, you know, people tend to hire people from winning programs. Johnny Majors gave me the opportunity to Pitt. Obviously, he was a legend of the game. Remembered him in '76, Tony Dorsett, when we were at West Virginia then. But we had nothing at Pitt. Facilities were awful. We had no players. We had no money. There was no commitment. And Coach Majors didn't have a chance. And he got let go, and then Walt Harris retained me, and we started to make some progress, and I learned a lot from Walt. He was a great quarterback coach. And then after 3 years, I had the opportunity to go with Chuck Amato. That was the first $1 million staff in college football, 2000. That's when 9 assistant coaches' salaries equaled $1 million. Norm Chow and, you know, some other people on that staff. And we had a quarterback, freshman quarterback there named Phillip Rivers, who the previous staff had actually recruited. And then we took it over in January, and Phillip was an early enrollee. And we had great success. So I think part of it was because I was with programs that weren't successful. And then once I went with Nick, I felt like I got what I needed, really after year 1. And I bet on myself. You know, it was a very unorthodox move. I mean, almost crazy move. And I thought I was crazy a few mornings waking up that first month. But, you know, here I am today. And so when you look at the transfer portal and all the things that have gone on in college football, being a recruiting coordinator and a coach for 20 years, which, you know, every year I wanted to get out of the recruiting coordinator job. And just, you know, I didn't like being a coach and a recruiting coordinator. And my dad used to tell me that's going to come in handy someday. And, you circle back. I think my journey makes a lot of sense, how it prepared me for this particular situation.
All right, next question, fourth row on the right.
James Crepia from the Oregonian. For both coaches, you remarked about the difficulties of managing the transfer portal amid preparing for a national semifinal and you hope a national championship. How much concern, if any, did you have about the other remaining teams in this playoff contacting your outgoing transfers to gain intel and anything further by way of information when the portal is open while you're still playing?
All right, Coach Lanning first, please.
I haven't put a lot of thought into it.
That really never entered my mind.
All right, we can take our next question all the way back in the middle of the camera platform for the next question. That's the kind of hustle we need right there.
Thank you. Brett Taylor, KZI. Dan, this one's for you. I know you're probably sick and tired about hearing the transfer portal, but Tatum Tuioti said something really interesting last night, that as long as we have 11
Tatum's
guys
playing
on...
in the game, right? Or are you
Yes,
telling me he's about
correct.
to
Yes,
enter in the-
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I hope so, at least.
You started that question kind of weird, as like, if he's transferred to Indiana, then
No.
I'm going to be...
No, he was talking about just if the team has 11 players on the field, that they can truly be successful. When you hear that from a player like Tatum, what he's meant for the program, what does that say just about the mindset of the team and just looking about what the players you guys are going to put on the field tomorrow?
Yeah, we've talked about it all year, strength in numbers, and the strength in football is the team. It's not one individual, and I truly believe that our coaches and our staff and our players have prepared really hard all year to be ready for their opportunities, and sometimes people's roles change throughout the year. That's where you have to be selfless. But we have some guys that can play winning football, and that's the key, is do you have 11 guys that can go play winning football? And if there's a deficiency, can you cover that deficiency up? That's part of the strategy behind football as well. But ultimately, we're really excited about the guys that go take the field. I got complete trust in our players. And regardless of what happens in this game, right, you go play and you play to win the game. But when you're playing a great team like Indiana, regardless of what happens, to be one of 4 teams left in college football is an unbelievable honor that we'll never recognize and we'd certainly never be satisfied with. Regardless, there's only one result that makes us happy at the end of the day. But I promise that we'll have 11 guys on the field that are going to want to play winning football and play to the standard necessary for our team.
All right, next we'll go front row on the left side, please.
Tom Brew, Roundtable Sports. Curt, a lot of your players have talked about how the Big Ten championship game felt like a home game, and everybody at the Rose Bowl last week talked about the same thing, just with a huge Indiana fan base in the stands, and according to ticket people, it's going to probably be the same thing tomorrow night. I know the game's determined between the lines, but how much does it help just to have this journey of this massive Indiana fan base all of a sudden having your back?
I don't think there's any doubt that when you have your fans behind you, they're in the stadium and they're loud after a big play, it just increases the energy level on your side. And so we'll see what tomorrow night looks like. We are closer, obviously, to Bloomington than Eugene, Oregon, but we'll find out.
All right, next question about halfway back on the right side here.
Seth Tao with the Daily Hoosier. For both of you, just what does the evolution of the kind of chess match look like when you're going up against coaching staff that you've already seen this season?
Anybody?
The evolution? Well, look, he's looked at things that they did well in all 3 phases and things they didn't do well. I've done the same thing. We've looked at things we did well and didn't do well. And then, teams evolve afterward. I think that was game 5 or 6 at the time. There's been 14 games. And teams improve, and why do they improve? Because of repetition. Repetition's the mother of learning. And then there's some schematic tweaks, but basically when you're successful and through repetition, guys are in the right place, it becomes secondhand, they react quicker, and then it's a matter of kind of managing the health of your team and a few other variables. So I don't have any idea what they're going to do. They don't know what we're going to do. And quite honestly, as I sit here right now, I know everything we've practiced, but I have no idea what that tape is going to look like the day after. And that's every game, what's actually going to get called, what'll work, what won't work, and what are they going to do different. and that's football. There are a lot of variables.
Yeah, half the game in football is sometimes as coaches you chase ghosts and you try to overanalyze things that happened before, but ultimately you try to stick to the same process you've used throughout the season. And just so happens you're playing the same team twice. Part of the reason that they're good is they're able to do the same thing over and over and over again really, really successfully. And that's one thing that's really clear about Indiana. They have an identity. They do their job extremely well. I'd hope you say the same thing about us as you watch Oregon. We do a lot of the same things over and over again really, really well. So it'll be a combination of those things and certainly some tweaks within that.
All right, I think we've got one in the middle of the camera risers in the back.
Joe Cronin, iOS TV Sports. For both coaches, one day away from a semifinal, your 15th game of the season. What would you say you've learned about yourself through this process?
Coach Cignetti?
I'm getting older.
Yeah, and I'm aging quick. So, just more than anything, how grateful I am to get to be a part of what I get to be a part of. My three boys got to come on this trip. My wife got to come on this trip, and you try not to be very selfish in this profession, but it was pretty fun stepping in that hotel room last night. And, I just kind of joked with our boys. I said, if your dad was a dentist, you wouldn't be doing this right now, and it could have gone a lot of different other ways too. I was really lucky to be a part of a lot of winning teams. So probably more than anything, just gratitude that I get to be a part of something like this.
All right, next we'll go front row on the right here.
Yeah. Ashley Adamson, Big Ten Network. This one's for you, Coach Cignetti. Just that we're at the College Football Hall of Fame where your dad was inducted in 2013. I'm wondering what you remember about that when he went into the Hall of Fame. And maybe if you can just reflect on something that he taught you. I'm sure there was a lot, but that really sticks with you and has allowed you to get to the stage that you're at.
Yeah. Well, it's been quite a week, honestly, with the portal and preparation for a great team, and then a few other things going on the side, which, as you get older, you have to deal with. But found out last night when we got on the plane that I didn't realize that the press conference was here or the Dodd Award. And once I did. So my dad was inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame in 2013, as you said. And I was the only family member that couldn't make the ceremony. And my wife told me this morning that actually her and the kids had gone, but I couldn't go. We were in fall camp at IUP, and I wasn't going to miss practice. My brothers and sisters all went. Frankie was probably coaching in the NFL or coordinating somewhere in college. I can't remember. And so this is the first time I've ever been in this building. And I did get to kind of see and it was, it was nice to be able to do that. I learned so much from my dad. I don't even know where to start. He was a great leader, and he led by example, and he was a role model, and he was a strong man. He had a little John Wayne and Clint Eastwood in him. I just read, I get letters and I read things on social media about all the people he helped at West Virginia and at IUP, helped them in their lives. And, I was the oldest, so the oldest always has it roughest. And when I was growing up, we were at West Virginia, and the pressure was a little different than when the other ones were growing up when they were at IUP. So, but I had a great upbringing. I knew in third grade I wanted to coach, and he had a lot of pearls of wisdom.
All right, next question back here to Mike.
Yeah, Mike Griffith, AJC. For Coach Cignetti, two-part question here. One, you're the only team in the last 2 years that's had a bye and won. Did you approach the preparation differently? And two, in terms of flipping the culture, image of Indiana football, what were the most important facets to being able to do that?
Yeah, well, I don't know what other people do in their prep, so I can't really answer that one. You go into a losing program, you got to change the way people think. You got to have a blueprint and a plan, standards, expectations, but it's all about people. You have the right people upstairs that you hire as coaches, and you got to have the right people in the locker room. And obviously, we put a premium on certain things in the recruiting process. And fortunately, I've had great continuity on my coaching staff. We're all on the same page, and I think that's critical, getting everybody to think alike and developing those intangibles as you enter the season. But we're process-driven. standards, expectations, accountability. I'm pretty direct in my messaging with the team. I try to make every word count. I don't put up with BS. I'm a little bit old school. Like, you got to meet the bar. You know what I mean? And if you can't consistently meet the bar, you're in the wrong place. And but my coaches do a great job, and the players, we have smart guys that are good players. And when you have veteran smart guys that can do a lot, you can do a lot.
All right, next question here, halfway back on the right side.
James Creppy of the Oregonian. Dan, you remarked about appreciating getting to spend time with family on this journey. Looking back even to last week, how different is this compared to your journey 4 years ago? Because I know your parents couldn't be in Miami 4 years ago with a different family obligation. So how different is this experience? Your boys are older, your parents are able to be a part of this in a different way. The world's in a different place than it was 4 years ago.
Yeah, they're all unique and special. And you know, in our profession, we probably never take the time to sit back and smell the roses and enjoy it. Some point in life, I'll probably get the chance to do that, but certainly grateful for this one.
All right, we've got time for a few more. Please raise your hand. All right, we'll go next question here in the second row.
Coach Lanning, Trey Wallace with Outkick. We talked with Will and Tosh last night. How have you seen them juggle two different jobs, main priority being Oregon Ducks and making sure you guys put the best product on the field, but also at the same time with this changing landscape of college football, them being able to juggle transfer portal, different schools, while at the same time, like I said, focusing their attention on the players in Eugene?
Well, they've been going 100 miles an hour since they both kind of hit that cycle where they have to do both. And I give them a lot of credit for the work that they've done, the way they've been able to maintain focus in a piece that's extremely difficult. I also give a lot of credit to the support staff around them and the coaches that are around them here that we've had, and the ones that will be here moving forward that have helped handle some of that load as they go through it. But again, I've said it before, they realize they don't have those jobs if it isn't for the players on our team, and they feel like they owe their best effort to give them everything they have to continue to make this season special, and they've done a great job of doing that, as well as doing a good job of establishing their new program.
Here we go, all the way in the right aisle.
Kenyon Barner, BTN. Congratulations to both of y'all, first and foremost. But in football, we always give keys to victory. If each of you could give 2 keys for your team to win this game, what would they be?
All right. Coach Lanning?
Yeah, I think it always starts with the ball, right? The team that's able to take care of the ball. Last time we played, we didn't. You have to take care of the ball. We were able to create a takeaway as well, but we ended up having to. I think that's a big piece of this. And special teams and big games always makes a big impact. I think we have to play well on special teams.
I mean, we talk about the same thing every single game. Line of scrimmage, run the ball, stop the run, affect the quarterback, protect the quarterback, turnover ratio. We're number 1 in the country. Explosive plays, runs +12, passes +15 on both sides. Critical situations, 3rd, 4th down, red area, 2 minutes before the half end of the game. And teams has to be a win. Every game, same stuff.
I should have named more. I thought we were just doing 2.
That was 2.
God dang, Coach.